Hello and welcome to the session on project risk management. Risk is the most crucial aspect in any project. If it is not managed properly, it can lead to repercussions which can be dangerous to the project. It requires a lot of proactiveness and alertness to manage project risk. As a project manager, you should keep your eyes wide open throughout the execution of the project so that none of the risks go unnoticed, which may cause harm to the project in the long run. In this session, we will learn what risk management in a project is and why it is important for a project. We will learn how risk management is achieved in a project. Then we will move on to learn the different processes in risk management, that is, plan risk management, identify risks, perform qualitative risk analysis, perform quantitative risk analysis, plan risk responses, and control risks. At the end of each process, we will see some sample questions based on actual PMP format. Now, let us understand what project risk management is. Project risk management includes the processes of conducting risk management planning, identification, analysis, response planning, and controlling risk on a project. The objectives of project risk management are to increase the likelihood and impact of positive events and decrease the likelihood and impact of negative events in a project. Project risk is an uncertain event that may have a positive or negative impact on one or more of the project parameters such as scope, cost, schedule, and quality. Risks can be positive as well as negative. Generally, the tendency is to focus on negative risks, and these are the ones that are likely to result in a project failure. However, there are positive risks which are known as opportunities for the project team to perform better than required on at least one of the major objectives out of scope, cost, schedule, and quality. In my experience, positive risks, which are referred to as opportunities, must be identified early in the planning processes to take advantage of them in the project. Otherwise, the cost and schedule impact of changing the plan will typically outweigh the benefit of the opportunities. Negative risks, which are referred to as threats, can be avoided if addressed early. However, these must be monitored and tracked throughout the life of the project. Risks can be known as well as unknown. Known risks are those that are identified and analyzed in the beginning of the project and tracked throughout the life of the project. There can be some risks which are known but cannot be managed proactively. For such risks, generally a contingency reserve should be assigned. Unknown risks are those which cannot be identified and managed proactively, and hence for such kind of risks a management reserve is generally assigned. You would have already read about contingency reserve and management reserve in cost management knowledge area. Risk management is the primary role of a project manager, while other project team members will be involved in all of the project risk management processes, but it is the responsibility of the project manager to ensure that risk management is done, and also to ensure that risk triggers are being monitored. Organizations and stakeholders are willing to accept varying degrees of risk depending on their risk attitude. The risk attitudes of both the organization and the stakeholders may be influenced by a number of factors, which are broadly classified into three themes. First, risk appetite. It is the degree of uncertainty an entity is willing to take on in anticipation of a reward. Second, risk tolerance. It is the degree, amount, or volume of risk that an organization or individual will withstand. Third, risk threshold. It refers to measures along the level of uncertainty or the level of impact at which a stakeholder may have a specific interest. Below that risk threshold, the organization will accept the risk. Above that threshold, the organization will not tolerate that risk. Now, why do we manage risk? The benefits of risk management in projects are quite huge. You can gain a lot of money if you deal with uncertain project events in a proactive manner. The result will be that you minimize the impact of project threats and seize the opportunities that occur. This allows you to deliver the project on time, on budget, and with the quality results your project sponsor demands. Also, your team members will be much happier if they do not enter into a firefighting mode, which is needed to repair the failures that could have been prevented. To be successful, an organization should be committed to address risk management proactively and consistently throughout the project. A conscious choice should be made at all levels of the organization to actively identify and pursue effective risk management during the life of the project. Project risk could exist at the moment a project is initiated. Moving forward on a project without a proactive focus on risk management is likely to lead to more problems arising from unmanaged threats. Now, how do we manage risk? Risk management is carried out in a project through 6 tightly coupled processes. These processes are: first, plan risk management. The process of defining how to conduct risk management activities for a project is the objective of plan risk management. Second, identify risks. It is the process of determining which risks may affect the project and documenting their characteristics. Third, perform qualitative risk analysis. It is the process of prioritizing risks for further analysis or action by assessing and combining their probability of occurrence and impact. Fourth, perform quantitative risk analysis. It is the process of numerically analyzing the effect of identified risks on overall project objectives. Plan risk responses. It is the process of developing options and actions to enhance opportunities and to reduce threats to project objectives. Sixth, control risks. It is the process of implementing risk response plans, tracking identified risks, monitoring residual risks, identifying new risks, and evaluating risk process effectiveness throughout the project. Out of these six processes, plan risk management, identify risks, perform qualitative risk analysis, perform quantitative risk analysis, and plan risk responses are a part of planning process group, while monitor and control risks is a part of monitoring and controlling process group.